I'm on the road to recovery in Castle Rock, Colorado. Live from Millville, New Jersey, I'm on the road to recovery. We're on the road to recovery in Morgantown, West Virginia at Mountaineer Field. And live in Scranton, Pennsylvania, I'm on the road to recovery. Here I am on the road to recovery from Berlin, Maryland. Hey, from Caseville, Michigan, I'm on the road to recovery. I'm on the road to recovery at Ann Arbor, University of Michigan. Recovery Army recently caught up with Jam Alker, a gifted musician out of Chicago, Illinois. We spent some time with him down in Florida to hear his story. Gifted lyricist, gifted musician. He's really making a difference in the lives of other people with his music, through his music, with his story. Ladies and gentlemen, Jam Alker.
My name is Jam Alker. I'm a musician and a person who's in long-term recovery. I grew up playing music, played in bands in my 20s, did some touring, made some records, had a lot of fun, did all the things you imagine you do when you're in your 20s, riding around in a band, and then I got introduced to heroin. And I thought it was something that I could just party with. I didn't understand the dangers of heroin, and I became hooked. Almost immediately after that drug entered my system, I was no longer able to live without having it in my system to some degree or another. That led to over a decade of living in a hole of pain and misery and isolation and depression and just unbearable need for this drug. I finally surrendered just about 3 years ago. As a matter of fact, 3 years ago right now, I was in treatment. Right now, 3 years ago. And I brought my guitar with me when I went to treatment, but I brought it with me hoping that it would just help me to pass the time. And what happened was I decided that I wasn't gonna get high anymore, but what that meant is that I was gonna have to start to deal with all the difficult thoughts, feelings, and emotions that I had been numbing myself to for the previous decade. So I had to get these things out, and talk therapy was helping, and all of the other groups in treatment were certainly helping. Being introduced to certain 12-step fellowships was also very helpful. But the thing that was perhaps the most helpful and the most healing for me was that I took that guitar and I started writing about the experiences that I had in my addiction, but also the experiences that I was going through in my early recovery, the guilt, the shame, the remorse, all of these things that were coming up inside of me that I had to figure out a way to deal with, because I was finally feeling things that I had numbed myself to for that entire decade previous to that. And then as I started to write, I began sharing some of the songs with the guys in my unit in the treatment center, and the reaction was amazing in the sense of the connections that it was creating between me and my peers who were there with me in treatment. They were telling me that, the stories that I was telling through my music were their stories. I was feeling the same things they were feeling. And there was a tremendous amount of empathy and connection that was happening. And while it was very healing and therapeutic for me, I also found that it was helpful to them. So as I came out of treatment, I learned that it was very important in recovery to give back to other people. And so I continued to write and share my music with other people and go to treatment centers and begin to speak about my story and share my music that way. I also wanted to go back to treatment centers and possibly do a workshop or something to show others some of the things that have been so helpful to me. And I was lucky enough to meet my great friend Sarah Bueno, who's a licensed clinical professional, also a professor at Loyola. Her and I ended up collaborating on creating a curriculum that we took into treatment centers and started to share some of the music that I had written in this sort of clinical curriculum that we put together. And I've really been able to use that as an opportunity to show others who suffer from the same disease that I do, how music can be healing and can really help them through processing these difficult things that we all go through in recovery, particularly in early recovery. So I'm having a certain amount of success with what I'm doing with the music and really sort of living my dream in that sense. But what's more important is that I finally have purpose in my life. I have learned how to be happy and content in life without having to grasp for all of these outside things to be able to give me that happiness. And that has been the key to changing my life, because I've learned that recovery isn't about just abstinence from drugs and alcohol. Recovery is about learning a new way of life where I no longer have to numb myself to the fact that life isn't going the way that I necessarily want it to go. If you're out there and you're struggling, please reach out. Vulnerability and opening yourself up is strength. It is not weakness. All that's waiting for you out there is death at this point. So please reach out. Please raise your hand, ask for help. If you need my help, you can reach out to me, jamalker.com. You can reach me anytime, 24/7. I do whatever I can to try to help you.
Go chasing Armageddon. Oh no, no. Don't throw your rum into the fire. And I said, don't go shaking your fists at the heavens. Oh no, no. For the Lord will provide what you require. I woke up this morning in heaven. Heaven fell straight down into hell. And I saw St. Peter, so I stopped him. I stopped him from ringing no broken bell. I laid my head on his shoulder. He sang to me, sang this very song. He said, don't go chasing.
Hey Jam, thanks so much for spending time with us and sharing your music. It's impactful. You're changing lives with your music. Music absolutely speaks to the soul of recovery. The promise of recovery with Jam Alker. Please share these stories. Go find Jam's music at the websites listed on the video, and please share these stories of recovery and hope with people seeking recovery. On the road to recovery in Florida, I'm Michael DeLeon, and we'll see you on the next episode on the road to recovery.